Hey guys, so welcome to the third episode of this interview series where I interview inspiring figures as well as people who help to build communities, music communities in Singapore. So I have with me today Faidhi and Ridwan.
Hi
Hey
guys.
guys.
What's up?
So they are content creator for drums and stuff where they react to local drummers as well as
International ones, eh?
international ones. They also have like interview sessions
Yeah.
where they share perspectives in terms of education as well as drumming. Okay, so thank you for coming in for this video.
Thanks
Thanks for having us,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having us.
Hey, Ridwan, you go first.
Why I go
Left
first,
to
ah?
right, bro.
Easy. Okay. So I started playing drums when I was 14. I was from Canberra Secondary. So initially I wasn't in band. I was in this CCA called Radio Control Club. It's fixed cars. Don't laugh. Very nice CCA, but very boring. Every day you just drive radio control cars. So my friend kind of dragged me into band because they needed a drummer. Then I don't know why he thought that I could play drums, but I couldn't play drums lah. So he taught me a basic beat, and then when I played like a few songs, then I realized that it's not not bad. So okay lah. So I stuck to drums. Fast forward, now I'm 31, so like at 17 years old of playing drums. So that was where I first started in Canberra Secondary. Yeah.
On that note, right, they don't only play drums and play in big events like Bay Beats, but they also they are involved in creating drum communities along with they are part of Drummer Co, and now they have this channel which is an extension of their well-intentioned, which we will cover in a short while. But let's go to Faidhi first.
Okay, I think my background is quite similar to Ridwan, just that I started off less boring lah.
Wow.
What video control?
Wow.
This is gonna be like the starting of this video.
the hook. Yeah, so I started off concert band as well, Sec 1. But I chose the lightest instrument like now you made it. No, you have to edit this out. So I choose the lightest instrument in band, figure out yourself. Okay. Which is not the drums, by the way. So but I picked out drums just because I found it cool, and I got punished all the time for playing drums because you're not supposed to touch other people's instruments. Anyways, at Sec 3, I think I started going to Drum Exchange Singapore. That's where I met Ridwan, this skinny, geeky fella with oily hair. Yeah.
What's Drum Exchange?
So Drums Exchange is actually the second iteration of a drum community in Singapore already. The first one was, I believe, Drum Circle. Really started by really some of the old guards like Jerry Chua, Apit Shafari, and a bunch of other people that I honestly can't remember their names. Yeah. So Drum Exchange is the second iteration, and I would say Drummer Co is the third gen.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's where I met him. I met a bunch of other people. That
So
are
basically
involved
the
also.
people in Drummer Co is like we always attended drum exchange.
Yeah. For most of us.
Most of us. So as we got older, we realized that hey, like the people that did drum exchange kind of didn't do it anymore because of commitment.
Yes.
Yeah. So we realized that hey, now we are like older and we are more so-called capable. Why not we give back to the younger ones?
Yeah.
So we did the third iteration of
Yes.
that lah.
And of course, to keep it relevant in today's context, like
Yeah,
then
correct.
sheds wasn't a thing,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. It's always like in my mind, right? Like when you do this kind of initiatives for a long period of time, surely people who probably don't really know how to play drums back then when you meet them, by now they are good already.
Yes,
Right?
a lot.
Yeah.
He's an example.
So, still trying to be better.
I'm still, we're all still
Still trying better lah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, is there anyone like have you ever encountered like they come to you like, hey Faidhi, remember like 5-7 years ago you met me here?
Oh, hey,
No.
I thought like,
Yeah.
hey bro, I met you at Drum Exchange like 10 years ago. Like, what?
And like we don't remember until we like school back. Then we're like, hey, yes, I met you last time.
Or like, like Facebook now has like shared memories of the past.
Yeah.
8 years ago, I was in the room with all this bunch of
Yeah,
people.
but we don't know that. But they like behind us in the picture. We in the same photos, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like quite cool, like. Yeah.
I bet that feels really gratifying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
It also shows how small and close the community is. Yeah. I mean, no doubt, right, personal growth is important. We all have to work. It's a constant journey, right? But at the same time, we don't forget other people, not just us. Yeah. Because other people help us get to where we are now as well.
So like,
Yeah.
so now that we are slightly better, why not we do the
Yeah.
same for the others that is like also needing help?
Just
So
like
it's like
how,
a cycle lah.
yeah, just like how the old guy or the mentors back then helped us in this journey, even in a small bit. Yeah. They help us to where we are now.
Yeah, correct.
So they have mentioned a lot of the word a beat. They are kind of good. Okay, so here's the actual thing itself. Okay, so for Ridwan, so he opens for a very famous hardcore band called Neck Deep when they tour in Singapore in 2018. Then he's also in a band called Resurrect. And also he's Istanbul Mehmet cymbal artist, Pantheon percussion artist, Los Cabos drumstick artist.
Wow, now that you list it, I like, wow, pressure. Wow, pressure.
No, there's a lot of things going on.
Not like you vocalize it like, oh, this shit. Wow, it's quite wow.
You have to step up your game now.
That's why it was.
Yeah, so there's like a bit just to touch like on the surface, right? Of course, like he does a lot of other things in the background. And for Faidhi, he's part of the drummer co. And he plays for two bands.
Played for two bands.
He played for two
no
bands.
longer around like this.
Victoria Street and
Little Fellas.
Fellas.
Yeah, that's right.
And he was from Police Band.
Yes. So all this was
Hooray.
running concurrently lah.
Yeah.
Hey, Little Fellas is still around by the way.
I see.
It was never a sudden inspiration. I think for me at least, right, what I will see this as whenever we have like kopi sessions last time at where Mr. Teh Tarik right, we have a lot of laughs. And I figured that we have somewhat great chemistry together. We laugh and joke around, and I felt that looking at what are the current content creators nowadays, right? Like example, some of my inspiration are people like Who Said Violin. I'm not sure whether you've heard of them.
Yeah.
So they made classical music fun and approachable, or like other reactors for drums be like Joshua Crawford. No, he's one of the OGs in terms of drum reactors. So I thought like, okay, why not we have our own personal taste to this with our nonsensical behavior. So let's just bring it up. I think to put it simply, right, we still have our reactions and all that just for like a baseline entertainment content.
Yeah, correct.
But I hope to do more serious conversations in the future with other drummers that we can talk about. Maybe not controversial might not be the word, but more touchy topics. Slightly more touchy topics.
Like?
I don't know. We will see when it happens.
I guess for
If it happens.
for drums it's like FAQ that people want to.
But it's not the way I look at it is it's not supposed to be instructional content. It's not educational content per se, but it's content that people have always wanted to ask, but maybe they kind of don't dare to. They have it at the back of their head.
Yeah, correct.
So like for people who like they want that kind of goal but they are starting from zero. You know, like what's the approach as like from like education standpoint? Like let's say metal. How do you start from?
I just did a arrow.
Wow, metal okay, like what do you mean by like they want to make it into a career, or like they like what's the next step for them, or like how?
I think for the most part they just wanna have the ability, you know.
Oh,
Because
okay.
these are like teenagers.
Yeah.
Tends to be
The
teenagers.
technicality of it, I guess. I mean, how do you approach it?
Oh. No, I feel that
The technicality.
they should be trying to, okay, so from an educator's point of view, they should try and like get some form of education, formal education in terms of drums, like learning all the different techniques, rudiments, and even maybe like slight reading also, slight sight reading. So you don't have to really go in depth, like as long as you know your 8s and quarters or your 16s is good enough. And then from there, go to like a lot of shows, like watch a lot of drummers, see how they play. And of course, definitely have to put in the hours to practice. You cannot be expecting yourself to become good, but like you only put in like half an hour a day, then it will not make sense. Like if you really from the start you should be grinding a lot more because as you get older, the time for you to spend on these kind of things will be very minimal because of like commitments or because of maybe you got a full-time job that you have to juggle also.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say if you're starting young, like put in a lot of effort in your practice and make sure the practice is correct practice. Don't just put in hours but then like you're just practicing wrongly. So you're just wasting the hours.
Especially for like students younger than secondary school, they just want to skip to the skip to the chase, you know.
Correct.
And then the technique will all be like just everywhere.
Yeah. What Mike Johnston would say, desserts before.
Vegetables.
Is it correct, right?
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. You cannot anyhow quote it wrong.
I think it's desserts before like the main course or something.
Correct,
you always want to get there. You want to get the sweet things.
But you want to eat your veggies.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but in this
correct.
context, as an educator, you can show them, okay, this is what I can do, or this is what you want to do.
Correct.
But to get there, you gotta start with this first.
But then at the end of the day, sometimes they also don't know what they want.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
correct.
And they will only realize it at a certain point of age, then they will look back and they tell themselves, oh, I should have done it. And then from there they will start.
We're all guilty of
Yeah,
it.
we all
also,
guilty of it.
correct, as
So that's why,
drummers.
even though I'm saying all this, right, but I know last time I also was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of tell my students that, hey, like I was like that last time. This is how I kind of counter it, lah, basically. Yeah, how I got over it. Yeah.
I guess like in terms of drums, because drums is very technical, it's very like one course,
Coordination,
one
lah.
course,
Yeah, more coordination also. Yeah, that's why.
like for some other instruments it's like half feel, half technicality.
Yeah.
Like
correct.
let's say like singing is like technicalities, but then it's also like feel and how you move according to like the way you feel emotions and all that. Yeah. So I think it's one of the things that not every child can grasp or every teenager can grasp. Like, okay, this emotionally from the customer from the viewer perspective, it's very like anyhow throw your hands around.
Right.
But from the player perspective is very like 16 notes.
Yeah.
Right,
You
right.
back this notes in a certain way, you know. Then for you, like
What's my approach? I think starting off as a young drummer, right, what you want to do is to imitate as much as you can with efficient practice. So back to Ridwan's point, which is if we correct or efficient practice, right, that's where having an educator helps a lot. Because for me, I never really had a formal drum education, but I did start off with good foundations in concert band. I know how to read and all that. Yeah, so if you have a formal educator, they can teach you how do you go about on this progress and imitate like a sponge, like how babies are. We all learn how to talk by imitating our parents and whatnot. So for us, maybe we imitate, let's say, Matt Gaskar, that guy. Yeah, and then to a certain point, you realize maybe you're not exactly Matt Gaskar or you cannot do everything he does, but you do you.
Yeah.
That's when you start to really do you along the way.
Correct. Yeah.
and then so I do realize that last time like teaching like the experience from a student is very like boring. It's very okay, you come to class parody of and then like the drum set is just like there's a lot of things, but you can just like double stroke until you get it and then you cannot scold and all that. I like how like now it's more fun. Like what the one YouTube channel is Crystal.
Oh, Crystal,
Yeah. Which you also interviewed.
Great content creator too. Great educator.
So if you want to know what I'm talking about, okay, head over to their channel. I will link the video over there in this video's description. So like it's more like feel, while she's playing, she's like, okay, there's this gap over here, this melody is doing like that, and that's why I feel it out like that.
And she explains it.
I think about Crystal's channel is very good because it's very clear and precise. So she breaks down everything, why it's like that, how it's being done, and why.
The thought process. And the best thing is Crystal is so well articulated.
Yeah, correct. She speaks
very well.
So she's like really the best person to ask for like breakdowns or like descriptions and details and everything lah. Correct.
Speaking of like styles, like teaching styles, I'm quite fascinated with Resurrect, the fusion of style, which I think now is very like rap K-pop.
Our current single that's coming out, we tried to experiment a bit by putting a bit of rap and hip hop elements. Because we wanted to stray away from the high IQ breakdown a lot of intricate rhythm. Because everybody getting old and don't want to memorize.
Gen
Yeah.
progressive things.
Even I bro, I cannot play the older songs because it's too. It's too, I would say it's quite taxing on the brain, and then you always have to constantly practice that thing.
Yeah.
So in my mind,
There's maintenance to do.
yeah, there's maintenance to do, correct. So I think the general direction for the whole band is like slowly going away from that lah. But need doesn't
I think that's
mean
nice,
that
though.
doesn't mean that we're gonna ditch it totally, but we're gonna try and do more variety
Right.
or genres. Yeah.
But how do you as a band come up with that concept?
Wow, I'm definitely the far back. I just play. I listen to them. Okay, I play. Literally drama. So Kevin, who is the guitarist, and JL, who's the guitarist also, who's the owner of Verta Collective. So both of them will write the songs, and they will write out the drum parts, everything. Because they all write good drum parts also. So they will just send the demo out, and then they will ask me, try to stick to the accents or the main gist of the drums. Anything other than that, you can try and incorporate your own style lah. So that's where my approach for drumming currently is at also. It's no longer learning specific licks or specific chops. It's more of if I hear this music, can I accent that particular rhythm that they wrote? Or if I hear this vocal line, can I accent that particular vocal line? So I geared my practice towards that now. Yeah. So being in Resurrect helps actually.
Leading to my next question, which is for Faidhi. Perhaps I've never heard of this question being asked before. Right? People will ask how do you play metal? How do you play rock? Nobody asks how you play Mandopop.
Oh.
Because me personally, I am really in love with Malay ballad,
Right.
which works kind of similar way.
Yep.
And just flam
A lot of swelling, a lot of big notes.
Yeah. So, how do you play Mandopop in terms of how's your approach to Mandopop for people who wanna play Mandopop and more subtle genres?
Okay, so in terms of my Chinese music scene kind of career path, right? Maybe not career path, but just that department, right? So there's Little Fellas, and I did a fair bit of sub gigs, sub for other drummers in the Chinese gig scene here and there. My approach is that it shouldn't be that far off from how you look at other genres anyway, whether it be Malay or Chinese rock or whatnot. But you got to know what is important to them. Feel is universal, right? Any music, you need to have a great feel. But in my opinion, Chinese listeners, they like to hear the original music as it is. Not so much when you go to a bar, they may not really appreciate improvisation, right? So they want to hear how they heard in radio, but in front of them. So you stick to what is written on the charts, perhaps. If the band leader says, okay, you have room to do your own thing, and then you do your own thing. You respect the music as it is first, and then figure out along the way. So that's how I approach it.
I think that's a really fresh perspective. Because of course, Mandopop is not a new thing, but it's more if you know how to do it, you know how to do it. If not, then you imitate, then this is how Then when you talk to people who already understand, and bro, like that lah. Of course it's like that.
I guess every genre or every discipline has their own certain amount of respect you need for it lah.
So there's a lot of things that is being shared, which I really appreciate your perspectives on this kind of topics. I think we covered a whole spectrum of things that is relatable to musicians as well as people who aspire to be musicians, right? So do you have any last words for my viewers?
You say first.
I say first.
No, right
to left. Okay, can. So I think if you're gonna whether we start a YouTube channel, you wanna create your own Instagram page, or you wanna start doing covers, you wanna start learning something, just go for it. Then everybody's gonna have some form of self-doubt, right? But we just gotta overcome it. Go, bang against the wall, and then we figure out whatever it is, we won't die. That's what I always believe. Yeah. And we just take failure as it is and we move on. So we get better.
Same.
Hey, walao eh.
Okay, since you say like that, okay. So just one thought just like suddenly come into my mind. One thing we haven't touched on is I think a lot of people struggle with content creation.
Right.
In terms of like music content creation.
Mm.
So if they don't want to go along that path of like, okay, I want to make a 30 seconds 1 minute video of just chops, finish. You know, they want to be more artsy or like they want to be themselves, but then the views is not coming, you know. So you having experience on this area of like drum content creation. So what's like your take and
Perspective of that.
perspective?
I think for me at least, in social media, right, there's always this concern about the metrics, the likes, the subscription and all that. But I think that's secondary. In my opinion, that's secondary. If I'm not getting enough likes, followers, or you're just way more concerned about that, right? I think focus on yourself first. Get a good content. I always say to myself, if I'm not getting the amount of views or subscriptions that I think I deserve, then my content is not good enough. Yeah, then I got to step up my game, right? Yeah. But of course, understand whether there's a niche and whatnot. At the end of the day, it's just not about metrics and likes. You know, it's about reaching that few people that appreciate the content.
Quality.
Yeah,
I also feel that this is what I heard from Mike Johnson.
Yes, correct.
He was saying like, let's say you see your drum video only got like 40 likes, then you'll be like, hey, why so little? But can you imagine putting 40 people right in front of you? That's how many people are watching your own video.
Organic and really appreciative
Really
audiences.
appreciative of it. So like, if you get 100 likes, and then you feel that, hey, why so little? Other people video got 10,000. But you have to imagine like, you are creating such a niche content, but there's 100 people standing in front of you watching that video. Don't you think that that's a lot? Like, you can fill up like a room. You get what I mean? So people are too hard up on the numbers, and then they lose focus on the quality of, or the kind of content that is true to themselves that they are supposed, that they will produce, I feel.
That's really powerful because I do touch about like the likes and shares because you know, like when you are in like desperate mode, like the mental space that I was in back when I just ORD, right, is like, okay, how do I gain, you know? Because when you are down there, you're like, how do I quickly get out of? It's like you're underwater and you're like, okay, let's get to the surface faster. And I think what you said just now, it really shifts the paradigm. It's like only 40 people, but this is special. You know?
Because the content is true to yourself. Like,
Correct.
you know that it's not going to be mass marketed because it's very niche. But then like at the same time, there's like this amount of people that is like watching and like organically enjoying and commenting. So you're like, what's there to be scared of? You got these people backing. And then slowly you start to see like-minded people going towards, because these 40 people will share to people that they know will appreciate this niche. Then you start growing.
Okay, so I think that has been a very powerful sharing session with drums and stuff. So before we end this video, if they want to follow you on your socials and whatever,
I think besides Drums and Stuff Official, which is the main channel name you can find on YouTube and Instagram, though I think most of the traffic is on Instagram.
Yeah, correct.
You can find myself at Faidhi Drums, though it's private, but just at me.
You can find me at Ridwan Johari. That's RIDWAN GOHARI.
Oh yeah, my Faidhi is different. Mine is FYDI Drums. Yeah, just to be clear.
Okay, so we have come to the end of the sharing session. Do let me know what you think in the comment section, or if you have any questions for Drums and Stuff, and I will maybe if there's a lot of questions, maybe we can do like
Part two
of this. Okay, obviously subscribe, hit the bell notification button so that you won't miss out on my next video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Bye bye.